What is going on, guys? My name is Taylor Stuber, and I'm here to give you my week 1 first look on DraftKings and FanDuel.com. It is this time of the year, one of the best times of the year. The NFL season is upon us, less than a week away as I'm recording this. And then we got the NBA season starting next month. So it is going to be a very, very busy time for a lot of us, but me especially. Until the end of the NBA season, going to be chock full of content when it comes to NFL and NBA. If you guys are new here or haven't done so already, I would really appreciate if you guys could subscribe, like this video, and then comment below with your favorite play of this week. It really helps out the algorithm, helps me get more views, helps me grow this channel. Would really appreciate that. But just to go over a couple things before we get into my first look, just to let you guys know, I took a bit of an R&R break just because we are about to be so busy in the next 8 to 10 months. We are going to be making videos or having a live stream every single day when it comes to NFL, and then we're going to add NBA on top of that once that season comes around. So once this video is posted, either today or the next day, we will have the Thursday night football showdown video out, and then we're going to have videos for the Sunday night game, the Monday night game, and the final look, which is going to be a lot more in-depth than this video. Of course, if you guys want my more extensive content when it comes to complete FanDuel lineups, my tiered cheat sheets, my personal player pools, and selections on Underdog Fantasy and Prize Picks, make sure to check me out on patreon.com/TaylorStuber. $25 for the rest of the month. I'm changing up the cheat sheet a bit for this year, just because I want to separate from more of a cash games perspective and a GPP perspective, just to accommodate for everybody out there. Make sure to check me out over there. And of course, if you guys want to join the Discord, that is completely free. Link is below or in the pinned tweet. But again, guys, I really appreciate you guys being here nonetheless. Even if you guys don't join, make sure to join that Discord. It is completely free. Follow me on Twitter at Taylor Stuber. But yeah, this season should be very fun. So let's just jump right into it. One last thing before we jump into it, actually, if you guys do sign up on Underdog and deposit using code STUBER, STUBER, link is in the description. With a deposit of any amount, minimum $10, you will receive a free $25 in credits. And the Puppy 3 is coming up on filling. Only 20% left, a couple days left to draft your teams, $200,000 up top. I've been drafting like a madman the last couple days to try to get as many lineups in there as I possibly can. If you guys do sign up and deposit using my code, make sure to let me know on Twitter or Discord, and I will make sure to set you guys up with something new. And we'll just jump into it on the DraftKings side. So I'm going to give away some of my favorite plays from a first look at each position, because this is a very soft pricing, especially on DraftKings. Every time that they end up putting out these slates very early, some injuries, some uncertain things are going to happen, and it is going to cause the slate to become either very chalky or very soft, and it is going to be a bit of both, but mostly just soft. I think there's so many good plays on this slate that we might not run into all that much chalk, maybe outside of the high-end running backs like McCaffrey, Kamara. I'll get to those guys in a bit. But we will start with the quarterbacks, and the guy that just draws my attention so much is Jalen Hurts at 6,400 on DraftKings, 7,600 on FanDuel. Very affordable considering what we saw from him at the end of last year when he finally started the games. He got his first start in week 14, and his stats through week 14, 15, and 16, he was the QB3. They threw the game 17 against the Washington Redskins just to ensure a better draft pick. So I'm throwing that game out, but he did rush for 2 touchdowns in that game nonetheless. So yeah, the upside is through the roof with this guy. As long as he's healthy and as long as he's starting, maybe they trade for Deshaun Watson later in the year and he goes over to the Texans, or they start Joe Flacco because he's struggling, to string along drives. He should be a top 5 quarterback in my opinion. The rushing upside is through the roof. If you guys know anything about what I've been drafting so far this year, I have pretty much 100% Jalen Hurts in my season-long leagues. I have a good bit of him in best balls. And I had a ton of Josh Allen last year, so I see, not necessarily to the extent of Josh Allen. I'm not expecting that kind of season from Jalen Hurts, but I think the upside is definitely there in a lot of these games. And this game could be a similar situation against the Falcons. The game has been bet up from a game total of 47 to 48. So that's something you really want to see, a close game. So it should be a neutral game script where we see Jalen Hurts not only throw against a weak secondary of the Falcons, but he should be running at will against them, against a weak front seven. And the best thing about Jalen Hurts is that you're not locked down to pairing him with another guy on this Eagles team. The targets on this team, like Rager, like Devontae Smith, like Quez Watkins, Goddard, Zach Ertz, they are all very, very affordable. And if you want to pair them with Jalen Hurts, feel free to do so. But with so much rushing upside, it is like Lamar Jackson, where you could play a naked Jalen Hurts and feel comfortable with it. If I were to pair him with anybody, it would be Devontae Smith at $4,500. I think that price tag is absolutely ridiculous. I think he's going to be a pretty clear-cut number 1 receiver on this Eagles team this year. The 10th overall pick, former or reigning Heisman Trophy winner from Alabama last year. One of the best wide receiver prospects that the Eagles have had in a while. And not to mention, this Eagles offensive line should take a huge step up this year, considering how banged up they were last year. They can't be worse than they were last year. So that is an upgrade for him. And now we've seen Jalen Hurts get a full offseason as the starter, taking all of the first team reps. So, there is a lot of upside in Jalen Hurts to not only do what he did last year, but to improve on that. So I'm going to be running a ton of Jalen Hurts in week 1. The chalk is going to be Joe Burrow at 5,700 in the Cincinnati Bengals. And, I think they're good plays against the Minnesota Vikings, but if you're playing cash games, maybe play those guys. But, there's so many good plays on this slate, and you can definitely find the extra $900 to get up to a guy, or not even $900, $700 to get up to Jalen Hurts, and that's what I'm personally going to be doing. Move over to the running back position. Alvin Kamara up top is the guy I'm going to be locking into my lineups as of right now. You get a $900 discount on him over on DraftKings in a full PPR sense, and I absolutely love that. Over here on FanDuel, even bigger discount we get from him. $1,800 discount from Christian McCaffrey down to Alvin Kamara. And honestly, in this situation, I don't mind Alvin Kamara straight up over Christian McCaffrey. If you had to only choose one, even if they were similarly priced, I think I might side with Alvin Kamara, especially in tournaments. It makes a bit more sense to play McCaffrey in cash games, but I do think that the Carolina Panthers, with the upgraded quarterback in Sam Darnold, I personally think it's an upgrade. They do have Robbie Anderson, they do have DJ Moore, Terrace Marshall Jr. I think they have a lot more of opportunities to go elsewhere than Christian McCaffrey, although Christian McCaffrey obviously going to be a workhorse in the games that he does play. Alvin Kamara, on the other hand, they're without Michael Thomas, which I'll get to those splits in a bit. Traquan Smith, don't know if he's playing. They have Marquez Callaway, but they do have Jair Alexander on the opposite side. So, Alvin Kamara could be the guy that gets a large majority of the targets this game. He's pretty much a shoo-in to lead this team in targets, especially in this game. but it is a 50-point over-under in the Packers-Saints game. 4-point dogs, so they should lean on the pass. And with Jameis Winston starting at the helm and Taysom Hill not starting, that obviously, if you drafted teams, that obviously raised your interest in Alvin Kamara. He is my number 2 overall running back and number 2 overall player overall in fantasy this year, just behind Christian McCaffrey. But like I mentioned or foreshadowed earlier, the Packers did exercise their 5th-year option on Jair Alexander, PFF's number 2 corner last year, and he does like to shadow, so I think that they could use him to shadow Marquez Callaway. And that would leave a lot of short, easy targets for Alvin Kamara. We saw in this same exact matchup last year where Alvin Kamara had 13 catches on 14 targets, 197 total yards, and 2 touchdowns. Absolutely massive game from Alvin Kamara, especially on DraftKings. I'll reiterate, full PPR, so it's hard to get away from him. And the pricing is so soft that you could play McCaffrey and Alvin Kamara in the same lineup and feel very, very comfortable with what you're getting. But let me just go over these splits with and without Michael Thomas on the field last year, which obviously Michael Thomas is on the IR right now, on the PUP list, so he's going to be out for a while. He played 7 games with Michael Thomas, 8 games without Michael Thomas. In these 7 games with Michael Thomas, he scored 18.74 fantasy points per game in PPR leagues. Without him, 30.89 fantasy points per game. Went from 3.86 receptions a game with Michael Thomas to 7. He went from 5.43 targets to 8.62 targets. He went from 27.71 yards per game, receiving yards per game, to 70.25. So I am all over Alvin Kamara. I'm interested to see what his ownership ends up being. I am pretty sure it's going to be lower than Christian McCaffrey's, which obviously I love. I'm going to be having both of them in my lineups, but yeah, I could say it time and time again. The pricing on this slate is absolutely abysmal, so you should be able to do pretty much whatever you want with your lineups. Just punting with some really high upside receivers, locking in the high volume running backs, and then pretty much any quarterback you want. But in my personal opinion, I think that should be Jalen Hurts in that mid-range. Move over to wide receiver. Now, there's so many wide receivers in this, honestly, like 3 to 5K range that have a lot of interest from me. From Callaway, like I mentioned earlier, in the low 3Ks, should be the number 1 receiver for the Saints until Michael Thomas returns. But the guy I really want to talk about, and then obviously the Bengals guys, I could talk about them. They are very, very obvious plays at their price points. But, we're here trying to get a little less chalky, trying to go for first place. And I think a guy like Michael Pittman Jr. is a guy that could definitely help you out. Only $4,100, a 50 over-under in the Seahawks-Colts game, although it was bet down at 2 points despite only 53% of the money being on the under. So a lot of sharp money coming in on the under, but that really doesn't concern me. A 50-point over-under is still a very, very valid spot to go to on this slate. But yeah, I did not expect Carson Wentz to be healthy for this game. Now, obviously, it hasn't been announced that he is for sure a go in week 1, but I do expect him to play. Coming off foot surgery, I thought he was going to be out for, to like week 8, week 10, but it looks like he should be good to go, coming off the COVID list as well. It looks like Michael Pittman should be the highest upside wide receiver. And, when people think about high upside receivers, I think that they immediately think of deep threat, but that's not necessarily the case. When you look at these really high upside guys that pop in GPPs, it's not the guys that go for who catch 2 balls for 90 yards and one of them is a 70-yard touchdown. Those are not the guys that necessarily win you tournaments. It's the guys that are going to accumulate massive target shares, and Michael Pittman can be that guy. So with Carson Wentz missing the majority of the offseason, it is to some concern and a lot of concern, to be honest, the cohesion he has with his targets. But Michael Pittman is their slot receiver. He's going to be a low ADOT possession receiver that could accumulate in a game that they should be trailing like double-digit 12, 13, 14 targets in this game. And this is going to be an offensive line that Carson Wentz is not used to having over the past couple of years with how banged up they've been. He should have a clean pocket a lot of the time. And at only 4,100 on a team that is projected for well over 20 points, should be trailing a decent pocket passing quarterback. It's hard to say how good Carson Wentz is after last year, but should be in a clean pocket, but should be able to rack up these targets and should be good in the red zone, honestly, as well. So 4,100, Michael Pittman Jr., one of my favorite plays of the slate. Move over to tight end, and now I like him on FanDuel as well, but on DraftKings specifically, it is an absolutely abysmal pricing, and that is Kyle Pitts at 4,400. And it is great that I can bring him back and stack and correlate against Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles. A pretty decent over-under, like I mentioned earlier, 48 points. It went from 47 to 48, so that's obviously moving in the right direction for us. But 4,400 is just a hilarious price tag for him. Julio Jones is obviously gone in Tennessee now, and he's the clear number 2 option behind Calvin Ridley. Generational tight end talent. He was drafted 4th overall. You just don't see that, ever. Only 20 years old. In 8 games for Florida last year, had 43 catches, 770 yards, and 12 touchdowns. Absolutely popping in college. Only played 2 snaps in the preseason, and they went his way, both of them. So one of the snaps, they ran a play action. So obviously, the Falcons have a new offensive coordinator. They hired offensive coordinator Arthur Smith, and so they're going to be playing a lot of play action this year, you would imagine, and that's going to benefit the Falcons offense and Kyle Pitts, especially if you look at the 2 snaps that he did play. The first one, they ran a play action where he went from the left side to the right, gave him an easy swing pass, and got like 25 yards after the catch, displaying his athleticism. It was pretty cool to see. And, in this game that could easily go back and forth. And, I did mention it is a 48 over-under. I like the over in this game. I think both defenses, while the Eagles did get a bit better in the front 7 because they're healthier, I think this game should go back and forth and should hit the over if I were to bet on that. So yeah, and then the other snap he had, they ran a play action to Kyle Pitts' side. He looked good on the block, so he should be good out there blocking, but especially receiving. So yeah, I think he should rack up the targets, and I think either next week in week 2, week 3, I think his price ends up creeping up into that George Kittle range, just because I think he should have a good couple weeks to start off the season. I appreciate you guys being here. If you guys want to get my more extensive content, you guys can check that out on patreon.com/TaylorSuper. I should have a video and or stream every single day for the rest of the NFL season, as well as the NBA season. If you guys want to join my completely free Discord, we have about 1,200 members in there. The link is in the description and the pinned comment below. Make sure to subscribe, like this video, comment below if you haven't done so already. Really appreciate you guys being here. Best of luck this week. It's going to be a fun NFL season. And until next time, peace.